Hello, everyone. This is Lenard Guzman here with Emily Robinson on the Life After D podcast. It's January 12th, 2021. So, Emily, make sure you make sure we're writing 2021. You know, like the first month for me, it's always weird because I'm still putting 2020.
Same for me. I do the same thing. I'm trying really hard to not do it wrong.
So, what's new in the divorce world? I'm sure court's interesting now.
It's busy and trying to do as much court um by Zoom or phone as possible so I don't have to go in, but there's still some in there. But yeah, it's busy. Restraining orders, divorces, a lot going on.
You know what's weird is that because I'm older, I feel like when I'm on video versus like in person, like I imagine in court, like if I'm on video, I'm like, I didn't really mean that. I'm in my pajamas, I'm at home. But I assume now like times change and it's like if you say something crazy on Zoom, you're liable, right? Like there's probably a weird dynamic to it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's crazy, like with the way that social media is now. Um, I think there's just going to be a lot more lawsuits and things going on, all the things about like Twitter being able to cancel your account or, canceling Parlor, that whole thing. Like all this stuff is going to be new laws that are made about what's free speech and what's allowed and what's not, so it'll be really interesting.
You know, it's even creepier. I was looking at this stuff. It's called the deep fakes, where they put like Tom Hanks or they put like Leonardo DiCaprio's face together, like a face merge. And I assume like pretty soon, like you could like put your like pose as like Leonard Guzman, and then it's actually some guy showing up. I can't imagine like because a court appearance it counts if you're on Zoom, right? Like you're logging in. That's going to be real creepy when people start figuring that out.
That is, I know the stuff you can do digitally, it's a little scary what can happen. I know. It's a whole
Yeah,
new world.
like on Zoom, there's like this beta thing here where I could put like thicker eyebrows, I could put a mustache, I could like change my hair. Yeah, it's in beta. I was just playing around with it earlier. So
That's crazy.
yeah, so there's gonna be more, like you said, like laws are gonna change, policies, I assume.
That'd probably be kind of
So
fun for court.
all right, so with all that banter and all this fun, let's get to the news. This part of the show, we go over the divorce news. What's going on Google, what's trending as far as divorce. So today we got some. See, it's like our episodes have become episodes like of other divorces, like this Dr. Dre um, divorce. It's on Vulture.com. Dr. Dre has to advance his estranged wife $2 million. Dr. Dre agreed on January 6th to advance his estranged wife Nicole Young $2 million and cover all of her legal bills for now, according to a recently filed court document. TMZ appears to have first reported on the deal. The rapper, whose legal name is Andre Young, agreed to maintain the financial status quo, including but not limited to the payment of all Nicole's expenses, consistent with her spending since the date of separation, which includes paying all expenses relating to the Malibu residence and the residence in the Palisades. The stipulation states, as for the $2 million, he agreed to advance the sum on or before January 11th, 2021. Dr. Dre is not going to pay for Nicole's protection, though, per the paperwork. Nicole is responsible for the payment of her security expenses until April 14th, when both sides are expected in court to discuss her request for spousal support and legal fees. I always find this weird, like how, in this case, the ex-husband has to pay legal fees that'll like kind of I don't know what the word is, hurt him in a way, like you're hurting yourself.
Yeah, the law is that both parties should have equal access to representation. So if one party has significantly more funds than the other one, then a lot of times they do have to pay the other one's legal fees because that gives the other party equal access to legal representation. It's not always 100% of the fees, but it's something towards the fees so that they can continue um, to fight their case as well.
Okay, and our next news article. I always feel like this is clickbait, but I don't know. Maybe one day this divorce will be in court. I don't know. So this one is from etonline.com. What led to Kim Kardashian to consider divorce from Kanye West? I don't know if this is real, but let's get into it. So Kim Kardashian West reached her breaking point last year when it comes to her marriage to her husband Kanye West. Source tells ET amid divorce speculation between the two. A source tells ET that the 40-year-old reality star has actually been done with their marriage since July. Kim has been over Kanye in a romantic sense for a while, but loves him as a father of their kids and doesn't want to embarrass or hurt him. Her last real attempt to make their relationship work was when she flew to Wyoming in July, and she was seen crying in the car with him. After that, she just knew that she'd be done for good. Let's see here, trying to see if this is just maybe, I don't know, tabloid.
Well, they have been saying, a lot that they're done, but then they don't seem to be done. So it's hard to ever know. But actually, I mean, what's interesting is that's normal in relationships. Like you think you're done and then you try again, and then you think you're done and then you file for divorce and then you put it on hold. And, it's just that we don't see every step of it like we do with a celebrity where they report on it all the time. But that is actually normal. I think it's probably more normal than just like, you're done and you're done. Like there's a lot of waffling back and forth because it's hard. They have kids together. They're breaking up a marriage. It's normal to waffle back and forth.
Okay, so like, what would be like the first domino that like what's the first thing? Is it like, I think you serve someone divorce papers, right?
Yeah, you file for the divorce and then you serve them the divorce papers. And then that starts the process. But at any point in the process, you can put it on hold and you can say, we don't want to go through with this or something like that.
Okay, this one is interesting. So Cameo, I don't know if you heard of this one. Says, want a divorce? Try Cameo to break the news after a series of viral pranks. A celebrity-driven video shout-out app has become the unexpected home for breakup announcements. So this is like, I don't know. So this is a celebrity app, right? You pay like whatever, and you get like on like I see this guy from Sugar Ray, Mark McGraw. Like, so he'll tell you like, hey, I want a divorce, and how would this even like play out? Like, it's like, can you present this in court or what is this?
You mean like a video saying that you want a divorce?
Yeah, so Mark McGraw would say, Emily, I want a divorce, but they're saying like, I'm sure they'd say like, they'd have a message written.
I've like never seen that before, but well, I mean, that doesn't like do anything legally. Like then one of you would have to actually go file for divorce. But that's a pretty awful way to tell somebody you want a divorce. Like, I don't know, that's horrible. But yeah, I mean, I guess it establishes the date of separation, the date you decided that your marriage is over by telling them on live television that you want a divorce. How sad. I hope people don't do that frequently.
You know, there's an app for everything. Like, I don't even get my groceries anymore. Like, takeout, Airbnb, Uber. So they're like, hey, why not?
There's online divorces too. I don't necessarily recommend them because I think it's really complicated, but there are.
All right, more, more to, let's get more to like a old school serious topic. Okay, Clippinger.com, considering divorce, beware of retirement account breakups. Great divorce issues include weaving through the complications of splitting pensions, 401ks, and more before the process is complete. Divorce can look a bit different for older couples. They generally don't need to worry about child support or custody of young children, but splitting the retirement assets they jointly own and those that each spouse owns separately are another matter. Along with the marital home, retirement accounts are often an older couple's largest asset in a divorce proceeding. When both spouses have retirement accounts, the combined balances should be considered along with all other assets. Says Laura Medigovich, certified financial planner and senior financial planner at Janney Montgomery Scott LLC in Purchase, New York. The rules for splitting retirement assets differ depending on the type. IRA, 401k, or pension, and can be complicated. And transferring retirement funds to a former spouse can have unintended tax consequences if done incorrectly. So the stakes are high for getting it right. For one thing, you need a qualified domestic relations order to transfer a 401k account or pension rights in a divorce, but divorcing couples may know this. The order, which is issued by a court or state agency, recognizes a divorcing spouse's right to receive all or a portion of the account owner's defined contribution plan or pension. So how do you divide all this? Like, let's say like I contribute all this, but still, that's like, well, we're in California, right? So how does that work? It just cut in half?
Well, anything contributed during the marriage is cut in half. So from the date of marriage to the date of separation is cut in half. But anything you put in before marriage or after you separated is separate. So that would go to you. But the part that's cut in half, each party's entitled to their share of what was put in during the marriage, and then the gains and losses on that. So if that share has gained money or lost money, they would have to, share in that too. So even if you're putting in your own funds from work, if it's during the marriage, those funds are community. And so that's why that amount is split in half.
Why would they say it's like in a gray area? Like, is it because the parties would I guess mediate like in arbitrage, like because then you could decide, oh, I'll give her, in my case or Male's case, you give her more or less, or like there's like, so the law creates like a ceiling, I assume, and a floor, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, lawyers can find reasons to argue over everything. There's always some things that can be gray areas, like if your employer contributed a certain amount, what does that count as? If there's other perks, like job perks, what do those count as? If any of the retirement is from disability, that may be separate property. So there's a lot of nuances that could make it not just a straight 50-50. And so, but also in negotiation, you can negotiate whatever you want. So maybe you want to, instead of taking half your spouse's retirement, you get the house or you get something else in exchange. So there's always those ways too that you can change how it's split.
Okay. Okay, let's get to the posts online. And in this part of the show, we go over what people post online about divorce, where they're at, as far as maybe they're starting one, maybe they're on the back end of it where they're restarting their life. Maybe they're having problems with child custody. So let's get to it. And Emily will have her expertise in this, of course. It's not just me reading it out. Okay, first one, top 5 things I learned from divorce. This is a person who's gone through divorce, and this is their life now. My divorce was finalized just a couple of weeks ago, and while the whole process was one of the worst experiences of my life, there are definitely some positives and things I learned during the journey that I wanted to share. It's never too late to start again. Relationships end, but our desire and need for human connection and love never do. Number 2, it's an emotional roller coaster. It doesn't matter how amicable you think things will be. It's a roller coaster of emotions. One day you're happy and remember why divorce is good. Others, you contemplate the what ifs. Number 3, the kids will thank you. If you're in a toxic relationship, then it's better to have come from a broken home than live in one. Number 4, someone will walk away with less than what they wanted. Majority of cases feels like the man loses out, but it's not always the case. Either way, emotional distress will do a number on you and will either make someone not care about what they're left with, or complete opposite and become entitled and take whatever they believe they're owed. Number 5, time will heal. It's a cliche, but through time and reflection, you will heal and come to realize your own faults that you should prevent from bringing to your next relationship. So what do you think of that? That's a good thing?
I think a lot of those things are accurate and good lessons that you learn from divorce. And I think I like when people share that stuff because it helps other people to, understand their own emotions and what's ahead for the future. I don't think it's true that usually the man feels like they got less or more like screwed in the divorce. I think that's, I think almost everybody leaves a divorce feeling like they lost out because no matter, it's not a winning thing. Everybody loses. Everybody's giving away half their stuff and sharing their kids and losing a relationship. So nobody leaves happy, but I do think a lot of that's accurate and helpful for people that are, going through a divorce.
Okay, next post, COVID divorce. This one's getting started. This COVID thing, I think when I look back, it's gonna be probably like 5 years. I'm gonna be like, those are the COVID years.
I know, right? Oh, we're gonna be in the history books. That's
well, I feel like I'm lucky in a way because I'm older. I went through a normal childhood where I went to school. These poor kids, my nephew's he calls me and he's like, we're all on FaceTime and he's like, I went to school on Zoom, and I was like, where'd you sit? And he's like, I haven't left the whole day. Okay.
I know, we're lucky that we didn't spend our childhood during the COVID times.
Okay, let's get to this one. There's probably some overlap here. So my wife and I have been together for 6 years and have 3 beautiful children, 6, 2, and 1. We have finally come to a conclusion that things aren't working out anymore. Everything seems to be my fault. I'm claiming no innocence, as I probably could be better, but she's also very toxic, and I feel she's always saying things I need to improve on, but not herself. We bought a beautiful home about 2 years ago, and honestly, I don't know what to do at this point. I'm 30, and the idea of starting over with everything is mind-boggling for me. I feel lost and have no sense of direction or what to do. Should I file first? What about the kids? Any form of advice would help. I'm on the verge of a breakdown.
Oh, well, those are good questions. I think that person really needs to talk to a therapist if they're on the verge of a breakdown about how best to approach this. Typically, it doesn't matter who files first, but you want to be in a good place emotionally that you can deal with it, because divorce is not easy. So before filing, I recommend people get their ducks in a row, emotionally and mentally, so that they really can be all there mentally and present when they're going through the process. Because it is stressful. So if that person's already on the verge of a breakdown, the divorce is going to just make that worse.
Okay, on to our last post here. Starting today with my divorce, finally. My husband started in March 2020 with an affair. I found out in September, October 2nd, my mom went missing, presumed dead from the evidence the detectives gathered. So I had to get this thrown on top of me, and my husband splitting. Well, Christmas was extra hard, so I let him come back around and swore he'd never hurt me again. And what do I find out yesterday? He's still talking to her. That was the final straw. Today I'm going to talk to a divorce lawyer. I feel lost. Like there's way too much on me right now. Just wanted to put it out there and share this with everyone.
Wow. Well, that's terrible what this person is going through. But what I can say is, obviously with her mom and the other stuff going on, she needs a good support system. And it does not sound like the husband is that support system right now. So, she's really got to do what is important for her to get through this. And if that's talk to a therapist, if that's have a good friend or a family member that's a support system, she needs to do that. But don't rely on the husband, because obviously if he's not being honest, he's not going to be a good support system through this process.
Okay, that's all the time we have for today. Any updates? I know everything's on Zoom now. With court.
Nothing really new, just trying to get through this like everybody else and hoping that we're going to get to the other side soon.
Yeah, I think when's the new inauguration? Like it's coming up pretty fast.
The 20th. Yeah.
Yeah, so there'll probably be new policies implemented, and was it the first? I think it's the first 100 days, right? So I'm curious what comes out of that.
Yeah, and hopefully there's not a lot of violence and riots before that.
Yeah, so that would be like January, February, March. Like April, kind of steep. Probably things stabilize and get a vaccine shot. I'll let you get it first.
I'm happy to get it. I'll report.
Okay, so you'll report. I don't know. Did you plan to get one, or?
I plan to get one as soon as I can. Yeah.
I know. I've heard people like they're like on a list. They're like, hey, I've heard people get it. I think people. I think my cousin who's a nurse is like on her second dose, so it's coming.
I'm not on a list, but I think I'm at like the bottom of the totem pole. But as soon as I can get one, I will get it.
Okay, so we'll get updates. We'll get updates on Emily's shot. Maybe next week, maybe a week after. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us on the Life After D podcast. See you next week.